Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fan, man, tapping in like you always do. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fan, man. Stay up to date with all the newest creepy TikToks. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Giants were petrified after the Great Flood. There are several mountains and islands that seem to look too humanoid to be random formations. There is even a movie called Moana, where there was an island that was a sleeping giant woman. We all know of the story about the Nephilim giants in the Great Flood. People say, if there are giants, why haven't giant bones been recovered? Well, they have, but not mere bones, but entire petrified Nephilim bodies. When these giants were wiped out, they became petrified and are seen all over the world, yet mistaken for mountains and islands. The giants were indeed that huge. The Book of Enoch describes giants as being 450 feet tall. Just so you can put the size of these behemoths into perspective, here is a photo of a man next to a 500-foot statue called the Statue of Unity in India. This statue is around the same size as the actual Nephilim giants, and a full adult male isn't even taller than its toe. These giants were so tall that they could easily be mistaken as a mountain once petrified and vegetation grows around and over them.
Microscopic images prove a lot. They literally prove a creator. How can you say there's no God when looking at microscopic pictures? This is an ant, and if you're here long enough, you may just see a demon. This is a freaking eye, and it looks just like a black hole. I mean, look at this intricate design at a microscopic level. I mean, it's bizarre. It just sucks in all the light like a black hole would, or what they call a black hole. And here's a literal hole in the skin from a needle. Look at this. This is salt, much like snowflakes. It all has a completely different design. There are no two snowflakes or no two salt grains that are alike. This is literally a cat's tongue. You know how it feels like sandpaper? They have like millions of little tongues on top of their tongue. A creator made the cat like this so it can clean itself. Here's another ant. So there's a lot of people out there who think parasites are actually demons. I don't know, but this is a tapeworm. I would say that could maybe pass for a demon. By the way, look in its eye. Maybe that's a picture of its host. This is literally shark skin. Again, how could you say that there is no God? These things were just finally organized themselves at a microscopic level to serve their purpose? Paper. Why paper cuts hurt? God's real and it's obvious.
Ants definitely have interesting looking faces, but those tapeworms, those definitely look like demons. Let me know what you think.
Cup and the Euro Cup, they're all big harvesting exercises. All sport is fixed. Yeah. Every single sport is fixed on every level. They would never allow it to be, because they are fear-based parasitic mentality. They will not allow two teams or two people or two fighters to go at it unless they controlled both of them under any circumstance. It's been going on too long now. It's really been going on so long that and you know, people are not realizing it's so in your face. It's so clearly in your face, and that people are still not realizing that it's going on. Becoming acceptable on television, that they're inverting sexuality, that they're emasculating men, that they're masculizing females. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious, and it disgusts me that people are still not paying attention to it.
Just in case it starts doing weird movements. It's Predator. Oh, don't go behind the house.
Body snatchers.
Yes. Prepping. They're only prepping our minds for what's
You got
really
TV shows like The Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, is nobody paying attention to the fact that that show started in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta, where the CDC is?
Don't come any closer. Oh my God!
There's cities underground, there's warehouses underground, there's actual homes underground. People build these tunnels and they've built them for decades. There's a lot, and elite celebrities, they go down there for parties. Underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California. I was there for a cock party. We walked through the museum, through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper, and you won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around and get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when you...
Your NDA is expired and you could talk about this. You used to work at a secret Starbucks. Is that right?
Yeah, there is a Starbucks that is like above reserve, like a Starbucks no one's ever heard of or been to. All right. Have you ever wondered while driving in Los Angeles, how come you've never seen like Will Smith stuck in traffic on the 405?
Yeah.
I've never seen a 1%er just in their car stuck in traffic.
Why is that?
That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the Actor Bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX. You can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there in those tunnels is Starbuckses set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All
Who's
of
them?
Seinfeld.
You've
Oprah,
seen Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a good tipper?
They don't have to pay.
So this has been underneath Los Angeles for a few years now? I mean, how long has this been there for?
I mean, it predates me. It seems like the city was built on top of it. So, I mean, I think this goes all the way back to the 20s.
This doesn't seem real almost. This is crazy.
I imagine how I sound saying it to people.
Between the last video of the chick talking about the tunnels under the Getty Museum, it's hard to really dispel him and say that he's capping, because it's kind of like, you never know, because we do know LA was built on top of a lot of different tunnels under it. So, you know, I just would be interested in seeing, like, you know, those kind of tunnels and secret Starbucks. That kind of threw me off.
Snoop Dogg is going to go down next. You're going to find out what Snoop has been doing all the time behind the scenes. That's why he was up there at the Olympics, which is a lost art now. We won't see any more Olympics. I mean, I guess they say it's going to come here, but I doubt it. So Snoop Dogg is now on his computer. Delete, delete, delete. There's a thing called the Wayback Machine, by the way. But it's not only that. These rappers are one layer. So when you look in the mob, you look at people's kids, right? And they used to run the tracks, the money at the tracks and all of that. Those kids are one layer. Obviously, they're not the people running the whole thing. They are the muscle, they are the bodyguards, they are the whatever. There's another level up, and there's another level up above that. And what it's about is stopping you, me, and I like some rap music. It's not my forte per se, because we know I'm Aussie that kind of music. But they take your creative, everybody's creative, and they block you.
The workers are visibly frightened by what they see as the figure disappears into the depths below. Though it's unclear what the creature actually is, it seems to have left the workers with a sense of fear and unease.
If you think really long term, then you realize that eventually there will be some natural disaster, even if it is not made by humans, that destroys all life on Earth. So eventually the sun will expand and evaporate the oceans, and we'll be like Venus, so hot that no life can really exist, or maybe some chemotropic bacteria, but eventually even they will die. So the only way to prolong life as we know it is for us to become multiplanetary and ultimately multistellar. And if we do not do that, all life on Earth will die. So those who care about life on Earth should really care a lot about life becoming multiplanetary and ultimately multistellar.
When you read Elon's body language and everything like that, you know, he comes off seeming like he means no harm, but let's all keep our eyes on him just in case, you know what I mean?
About to show you is insane. This is a video from the Graham Norton show when Liam Payne had an interview and he started talking about P. Diddy and Jay-Z. Now, specifically in this video, there is something going on that's suspicious with the hosts of the show, especially when he mentions Jay-Z. Watch their hands. Their hand movements are to the second exactly the same. There's almost a tap on the leg to Graham Norton, and then their hands are put together, put on their laps. It's just strange. Watch this.
I sat there just looking in P. Diddy's eyes like, when is this going to end? and then the worst of it happened. The worst of it happened. There was a whole thing with Jay-Z and I went to lean in to speak to him. But you can't lean in to speak to Jay-Z. You're not allowed to lean in. And his bodyguard just, like, shoved me like this, and I went flying in. And his bodyguard just, like, shoved me like this, and I went flying.
As soon as he mentioned Jay-Z, they did that. They looked away, they put their hands together and put it in their lap. That's weird. Am I the only one? Surely not. Can you see it? And what's even weirder is the fact that this video I just showed you resurfaced 12 hours before Liam Payne passed away. Pretty convenient, right?
Hey, it's so interesting how everybody on the internet is way more observant now. You know, things aren't just happening in plain sight without us just seeing it. That might mean something, those hand gestures, but at least now we know what we're looking at and we can go do some homework on it. Maybe those are signals that mean something, or maybe they mean nothing, but at least we're not just watching it blindly though.
It in your nature to consume the flesh of animals. The Gnostics, an ancient group of highly spiritual and enlightened beings, believed you were not naturally meant to eat flesh. In your time, they might be seen as what you call chosen ones, or starseeds. They believed in a material realm and a spiritual realm that affects you. They saw your flesh as corrupt, but your spirit as your true essence. For them, the consumption of flesh was thought to keep your soul trapped in the physical realm and body, preventing your spiritual growth. They believed the fruits and vegetables we eat are powered by the sun's energy, allowing us to absorb divine energy, fueling the soul and raising your vibration. A Gnostic text warns you, those who engage in harm will face spiritual darkness. Some believe that the practice of eating flesh was a deception you were tricked into, causing you to inherit this spiritual darkness. Their food choices were part of a holistic approach aimed at freeing your soul from what they saw as the corruption of your physical world. While you might believe animals were placed on earth for your consumption, the Gnostics believed the creator of nature placed fruits on earth for your nourishment, not the animals. Ask yourself, would an angel consume flesh?
And then in 1993, he and Clive Davis founded Bad Boy Records. Clive Davis, how do you describe Clive Davis? There's an infomercial about him now, which is a document, it's been called a documentary. And it makes him look like this benign octogenarian that's helped all these rock stars with their careers. But people in the music industry really don't like Clive Davis, most of them. And his criminality is kind of amazing. He got busted, he's been for filing false tax returns 3 times. and then defrauding the IRS 3 times. He was involved in the biggest payola scandal. That's when record companies give money to radio stations to play their songs. He was part of the biggest payola scandal of all time as president of ABC Records. And then there was a Genovese crime guy named Pasquale Falcone, and he got busted smuggling 22 pounds of heroin into the United States. And the Justice Department started digging into him, and they came across all these shell companies that he headed, and Clive Davis was funneling money from ABC Records to these shell companies. So I've just told you about 2 decades worth of criminality by Clive Davis, and that guy has not spent one night in jail. That's what's amazing about him. So in 1993, I think he takes P. Diddy by the hand and they get on the yellow brick road. And P. Diddy has been engaged in all kind of criminal behavior, but nothing has come out. And I believe for Clive Davis, this is just my surmise, for a guy to commit as many felonies as he's committed and not spend a day in jail, I believe he's working for the government on some level as an informant. I mean, who knows? But so he...
An informant for what? What makes you think he's working for the government?
I would say like an informant for the FBI or...
For what? What would they be collecting?
I mean, a guy in that position, I'm sure, has quite a panoramic view of certain types of corruption and criminality.
Where? In what realm?
In the music realm.
Do you think the FBI is actually interested in the music realm?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of laws on the books about what people could, like the payola scandal. It's against the law.
There's plenty of 3-letter agencies in America that we know about, and then there's plenty of them that we don't. So the fact that he never went to jail, it says that he's probably hanging out with the ones that we don't know about.
Women birthdays are the worst women.
The women born on May 25th, they are banned from GG33.
Why May 25th?
I remember one day I did a reading, it was 2015, and I talked to 4 different men from 4 different parts of the world: Australia, Africa, Brazil, and America. I'll never forget this day. Every single one of those guys said they were getting a divorce from someone born May 25th. I'm like, wait a second. 4 different people paid me for readings, and they're all getting divorced or breaking up with the May 25th. And this is at the time when I was considering throwing the May 25th person out of my group. After that day, no question, whatever repercussions had happened, she's out. She was going after me for years, making up false police reports, all sorts of shit.
What are the best employees to hire?
People who are forced, people who are born on 4th, 13th, and 31st because they're going to work their asses off. Or people who are 4 life paths. They work hard. They work extremely hard. People who are forced. Those are the people you want to hire because you know they're going to put in the work. Don't want to hire certain people because they might be drug addict. Don't want to hire certain people because they might steal from you. Number 1, the craziest I ever have to throw out at GG33 was born May 25th.
You handled an implant, and it was the Department of Veterans Affairs gave you this implant, and you describe it as these fibers, these spindly fibers, and then you sort of you get those away from the thing. It's like microchip. Is that right? Or
so let me give you the best explanation I can. Imagine a little square piece of metal that was iridescent, meaning different colors, purples and silvers and different colors, that was entombed in a soft, gelatinous, what appeared to be human soft tissue. If you were to remove a tissue sample from somebody, maybe about this big, and inside there was a foreign object that was metallic, it appeared to be metallic and multicolored. And on the biological material, this encapsulation, these fibers, multicolored fibers, yellows, greens, blues, that came off of that central piece of gooey mass. And according to the pathologists, it was moving under the microscope under its own metabolism. Wow. Yeah, and it was removed by a surgeon from the Department of Veterans Affairs from a U.S. veteran who claimed to have a up-close and personal contact with a UAP.
Occupants or just UAP?
I don't know about that particular case, and I have to be very careful.
If there's an implant, then
HIPAA and patient confidentiality.
Where do we have any sense of where that implant is, or
we have an idea?
Okay.
Are you familiar with Whitley Strieber's story?
I am not.
Well, so Whitley has an implant in his ear that has been documented under like an X-ray, and in an attempt for him to extract it, it had the same behavior. It evaded the surgeon.
So we have someone right now. There's a person at one of the aerospace corporations. I cannot say their name because I don't want to get them in any kind of trouble. But they've had something moving in their body now for several years, and they keep locating it in different parts of the body.
Wow. Yeah. And I've asked Whitley about it because he was at the Seoul conference, and I asked him like why he never removed it. And if I remember correctly, it was something around like he felt like maybe this was the NHI's way of communicating with him, and he didn't want to interrupt that. And it was also his late wife. She had recommended that he doesn't take it out.
Now that's just strange. I mean, if you were implanted with like some kind of device from a UAP or extraterrestrial, would you want it being taken out so you can examine it, or would you leave well enough alone and just leave it in your body? Me, I'm taking it out instantly.
The secret cave that goes into Disneyland. Now, if this works and it actually does go into Disneyland, I have an annual pass, so I'm not trying to steal admission. Here goes. It's kind of short. I made it. I am in Disneyland. It works. The cave is real.
Man, you know he was capping. You know it was fake. I mean, he wouldn't even let us see. He wouldn't turn back to show us where he came from. That's how I know it was cap, man. Let me know what you think.
We don't know what the fuck sleeping is anyway. I mean, what is sleeping? You shut your eyes, you shut off, you don't exist in this plane, and your consciousness goes somewhere else. Like, literally, you have no memory of a giant chunk of your day, and we have no problem with it, and yet we don't connect it to any other realm or the idea of there being other dimensions. You go into another dimension when you go to sleep, okay? You do. You just shut off. You stop. And for all intents and purposes, you are in another dimension. And if while you're in that other dimension, your brain is being pumped with this psychedelic chemical that when you take it when you're sober makes you have these incredible experiences, it just seems like a normal thing to look into. Like people should be looking into that. Like what is happening when you're sleeping? You go away. Yeah. And everybody's just so used to it. They're like, no big deal. We just go away. Just go away for 8 hours a day. You know, everybody's scared to die, and no one's scared to fall asleep. You're shutting off, man. You know you're going to be back, so you're not worried. But you're shutting off. Whatever that is, you know, is just accepted. If sleeping didn't exist, it would be the craziest thing. If all of a sudden you told people that they had to shut off for 8 hours a night and just completely not be aware, they'd be like, what are you talking about?
The most important mural that's ever been created in human history. It tells us everything. In this depiction, and I want to break it down, the two beings on the other end are the Anuna. That's why they have wings, and that's why the horns on their helmets have multiple horns that represent status. They are not like we are. They're not kings. They're the beings that we think of as the Anuna, our creators. The two most important symbols for power, like strength, were two things. The horns of a bull itself in Egypt, and a lion. Now, in this depiction, you're seeing our two Anuna on either side passing rulership to rule over us to two different individuals. One of them is a king and one of them is a priest. What they're passing is the symbol of the pine cone. They're passing the pine cone behind the head, pineal gland. They're passing the knowledge to the king and the priest for how to rule over humanity. you look at a pine cone, it already has the sacred geometry woven into it. The sacred geometry of the golden ratio. The way that it's designed within the pine cone has its own sacred geometry woven in.
So we can communicate through dreams now, which is super exciting. But if you were in the spiritual community, you already knew this. Like I always say, they call us crazy now, but then everything we say comes true years later. The reason why this isn't anything new, and this is actually kind of common sense if you were to study science, is because galaxies in the brain cell pretty much identical. As above, so below. You cannot create anything that isn't already in creation. This is the definition of infinity. The reason why they are able to be in the same dream, communicate through the same dream, literally because the brain cells mimic the ways the galaxy looks, which means we are just thoughts in God's mind. We are just brain waves in God's mind, and God's mind in a macro sense is the galaxy or multi-universes. Now, I have experienced this before. If I'm sleeping next to a person or I'm very connected to a person, I will have the same dream as them or a similar iteration. We would both wake up and be like, I had that dream too. That's so weird. I was there too. Some people can even share dream areas. What I mean by that is there are certain places in the fourth dimension or the astral realm where it has a certain frequency, where it's a certain location. And if you are really good at astral projection or controlling your dreams, you can go to these certain locations and you can meet up with certain people like your friends or relatives in these certain locations. This study is amazing and all, but the spiritual community has been saying this for so long, and now it's finally out. And recently, a lot of my followers and customers have been telling me, life feels like a dream. It just feels like I'm walking through a dream. I feel like I cannot tell the 3D apart from the 4D anymore. And this is because we are going through an ascension. All this technology is proving is that we are just thoughts in God's mind. That everything is interconnected. There is nothing that separates us. We are infinity, as above, so below.
It controls all women. Beyonce owns women. This is true. Around the world.
I even heard it from Beyonce and all of her Beyonce-ness.
Fastest woman in the world. Is that a lot of pressure that comes with that? No, because I know the truth. I know Beyonce is the queen of the world.
Oh, nice to meet you. The biggest female in the world. No, I'm not. Beyonce is. Duh. Do not blaspheme Beyonce.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, The Guardian recently said that you're the woman right now making like the best pop music on the planet.
As long as Beyonce is alive, that statement is not true.
Thank you. Beyonce's new album release. I'm excited, but is it okay to release something this fire during a heat wave?
Hey, the glaze was thick. I'm talking about, I never really realized how many people really love Beyonce. And I thought Adele did more numbers than Beyonce. I got to go check and really verify. But like, there were some super heavy hitters that were doing some crazy numbers, but they still looked at Beyonce like she was on top of them all. So I don't know what to make of it really. Is that really just people showing love and, or is that some people under a spell of some sort, It's interesting. It's interesting. Let me know what you think though.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Why are you pointing at me?
The other thing I
nervous.
found out was that that Uber has never turned a profit.
What?
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? So why
they're worth $1 trillion?
Right. So this is another thing in the book. So the reason Uber is so big is because venture capitalists keep putting money into Uber, right? So it keeps growing. So the stock keeps rising, right? Now, why are they doing that? The reason they don't make money is because of drivers, and they have, there's all kinds of benefits and insurance. They're waiting. Investors are waiting for cars to become autonomous where they don't need a driver. So Uber's going to have like computer-driven cars. That might take 10 years, but then you get all your money back.
Who's gonna fucking trust that? They posted a net loss of $9 billion.
How about that?
Oh my God.
This is going on all the time.
Look at this. In 2021, Uber posted a lower net loss of $496 million. Hey guys, good news. We only lost $496 million this year. Primarily thanks to the business divestitures of various assets throughout its history. On an annual basis, Uber has never made a profit.
How about that?
Wow.
That's so weird.
I would imagine it's one of the most successful companies that everybody's Ubering.
And this is the problem with our business system and our marketplace, is because in a lot of ways it's fixed.
Oh, they had one profitable year in 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. But look at that. Go back to that. Over the next 3 years, it's lost $15.6 billion.
Would you ever have thought of that? No.
No. Oh, but it cut its losses to $400 million in 2021.
So what the reason that
So
the
they made a
company
little
keeps
money.
growing is venture capitalists keep putting money into it. And if you keep putting money into it, you can expand its value.
And they're doing that because they believe in autonomous cars?
Yes.
Like,
Now here's another thing. So why in New York City there are buildings, high-end buildings that they build, right? Like where the apartments go for $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $50 million, right? They're 80% empty. Do you know why they're 80% empty? And why there's so much real estate in this country with high-end that's totally empty? Because people from China, Russia, South America who are doing nefarious stuff, they'll buy an apartment, they'll buy a flat in London for $140 million. You go, what, $140 million? Who would ever live there? They don't live there. They don't rent it either, because then they can't call it as an asset.
Investment.
Now what you do is this. You take that $140 million flat and you borrow against it. You borrow against it. So now you take that money and you put it in the stock market, and that's how you wash your money, baby.
Whoa.
Yes. So now in the government,
that's how you wash your money.
Yes, but it fucks everybody else up in the
arts.
I
You
know.
are in the dark
That's from
arts.
this book.
Jesus.
From a hacker's mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. What a dirty business.
Brian Count.
And that's why you got to always follow the money. So many plays going on over our heads, man. We got to look up sometimes.
So last night I was showing people the location of the comet, and I stumbled across something that we've been massively lied to about. And to me, it's potentially terrifying. Let me introduce you to the Second Moon 2024 PT5. So I went to get a really close look of what this thing looks at, but then I looked at the numbers on my program and noticed the diameter is 2 km, which is about 1.2 miles. But when you Google it, it says it's only 33 feet. But then there's something else that's actually more terrifying. So here we are, October 16th, and you see where the distance is, but watch this as you go to November and December, the numbers get lower as it's actually getting closer. But here's the other thing that's taking place. As you see, hour by hour of the way that it's orbiting is going in this direction, in the northern hemisphere. So someone tell me why they lied to us about the diameter, how it is moving, and why it's getting closer to us as the months come on. Take care. God bless.
You know why? Because they don't want people panicking. Him just explaining that makes me feel a type of way. You know what I mean?
I see.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
I wish that was funny.
Memphis, where our new god will come from. As we see here, Elon's AI supercomputer project is in Memphis, Tennessee. And as you heard from Elon himself, how Memphis was the capital of ancient Egypt. And we can see in the Bible, Memphis is a symbol of the consequences of turning away from God, deception, and folly. Now, the Hebrew name for the ancient Egyptian city of Memphis was Noth or Moth. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. And now the city of Memphis had several other names, including the meaning of the house of the spirit of Ptah. Now you may be asking, who is the spirit of Ptah? Well, apparently this was the ancient Egyptian god of creation, arts, crafts, and trades. He was also considered the architect of the universe. Ptah was the chief deity of Memphis. And we can see here, according to the legend, Memphis was the first capital of United Egypt. Makes me think of the Tower of Babel, where everybody was united. Oh yeah, a nice little hand sign there, Elon. So you're telling me the guy who wants to implant a chip into your brain and tie your consciousness with AI, who also says that AI is summoning a demon.
The artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Doesn't work.
How our new god will come out of this artificial intelligence, which again is coming out of Memphis, which he makes a point to tie in how Memphis is originally from ancient Egypt while throwing up the hand sign. Nothing to see here, guys. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that the Tesla logo upside down looks like a witch's hat. I'm sure that's just me looking too far into it. Now, this interview that Jordan Peterson had with Elon Musk blew my mind. It confirmed everything that I was suspecting with Elon. And I plan on making more videos on this interview because some of the things that were said here blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind, and how nobody else is talking about what was said. And I'm not sure about you guys, but I do not trust that guy at all. But do you know who I do trust? Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who has delivered us and saved us from our sins, and he will deliver us from this evil and wicked world. And with that, guys, keep your eyes focused upon him during these crazy times. Pray for wisdom and discernment, and allow him to guide you. I will continue to do what he has led me to do here. Again, if you think this is all silly and crazy, then you can just keep on scrolling. That's fine. I love you anyways. But to those who see what's going on, who have the discernment, who have eyes to see and ears to hear, you know what time it is, guys. I love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.
Found evidence. What looks like a cloud moving is actually just a bunch of drones. Check it out. See that right there? You see that? Well, look where the arrow is. Right there. Look at that thing. See? They're already able to do it right now.
My ship.
Now imagine if something was above that cloud. You wouldn't be able to see what it is. And then think about downwards. If they wanted to put it on the ground, like maybe 20 feet above you, it'd be the same thing. It's
just gonna look like a building or something.
Yeah. It's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, so they put it down below, and let's say you're in an airplane and you're looking down, it's just gonna look like everything's normal. But they can already do it. They can already do it. Yeah. That's insane. The world record for the most synced sequential drones was established in China with 8,100 drones. And imagine if they all can blow up.
It shows 8,100 drones flying simultaneously.
Those are all drones.
Which actually broke a world record, a new Guinness World Record. Who's to say you can't fly 8,100 drones around a $13 billion aircraft carrier?
You could cover a section of the sky. Let's say you want somebody not to get any sunlight. You can actually block a whole block from sun. You can get all these drones to cover this area. You won't be able to see what they're doing, and they're doing it, and then the drones go away.
Having that many drones in sync at one time is kind of cool from a creative perspective. But, you know, to kind of venture out and say all these other things could happen, yeah, I could see the creepiness in that for sure. Let me know what you think.
Somebody makes a good point. What is this thing up here to the top right? Is that the mini-moon? I mean, it definitely looks too big to be a star. So I don't know, I think that might be that Nibiru, Planet X, or alien ship that everybody's talking about. What do y'all think?
It gets worse. So after Jenny McCarthy did this to Justin Bieber, she said this.
Enjoying the night so far. Great. I just got to nap Justin Bieber and grab his butt.
I thought that you totally, it was like a full-on almost makeout session.
A little cougar scary.
Yeah.
But I took the opportunity in the window, considering I'll never get to do it again, and kind of molested him.
Well, we hear that he may be back on the market now and available.
Can you imagine how hilarious that would be? That would be the cougar score of the century. Jenny McCarthy dates Justin Bieber.
Would you?
I want some Bieber fever, and I want a Bieber rash. I want it all. It'd be a cougar rape.
But do you think that he's been handling the pressure well? How did you see him out there?
Yeah, I feel like he is. I don't know what to do. I can't even imagine starting in the industry as young as he has.
I mean, I don't know why you're mad that people are pointing this video out and it's going viral again. You said it. We didn't. You did it. We didn't.
Is the Illuminati real?
No, I don't know.
She is being truthful.
This is the highest satanic priestess in all of Hollywood. Michelle Lamy is not just a designer.
You're going to name names in these lawsuits. As of now, do you have celebrity names?
I do. I think people already are suspecting some of the names that you might see. I think some of them will be shocking, though. People that attended the parties that watched some of this behavior occur and stood by and let it happen.
This is Diddy's new judge. He takes his job very seriously. You can look at the look on his face. Look at the way that man's holding his hand up. He don't play no games, and he not finna let Diddy get away with nothing.
So when I look into history and I see that these people were doing these rituals and trying to summon demons, and you look throughout history at how many times elites got caught having sexual rituals, and I'm talking about recent history, like the last 150 years, I went, okay, if they believed in this, and these people that had the access to the most wealth and the most money, that they believed in spiritualism in a demonic way, then people better wake up right now and realize that spiritual forces are still at play. And if you're not even speaking about that and you don't think God is real, then you're essentially the person that's bringing like a knife to a figurative gunfight. Like, I think that this has been going on for a long time in America, and that we have been being impacted by spiritual forces.
This is a pure fact. It's just that there's never been social media and cameras all over the place like there is in today's time. So now we're getting to watch it live. Back then they did it, but it was all mostly in secrecy, you know what I mean? But yeah, we're watching the downfall live.
Plenty of teen singing sensations on YouTube, but this pair are so popular they caught the eye of the Queen Bee herself. Sisters Chloe and Holly Bailey are getting information. Beyonce 2.0 is ready to soar.
Tension when they sang her hit single, Pretty Hurts. It has now been viewed more than 11.5 million times.
Fix what you can't see.
How did Beyonce hear about you two?
YouTube. Yes, YouTube.
We did the cover to Pretty Hurts. That one, out of all the covers we posted, it got the most traction. And then 2 weeks later, we got the email from Parkwood, and after we received that, 2 days later, we heard she wanted to sign us, and we were screaming.
Yeah, we were like, what is happening? Oh my gosh.
Because that's like Queen Bee.
In fact, the Queen Bee signed them to a reported $1 million deal for 6 albums with their management company, Parkwood Entertainment.
We're just so happy because we're given the freedom to do what we want to make.
She's so amazing. She's just a great role model in every aspect of life.
$1 million for 6 albums, huh? All right.
Ray J running there with his shirt off and shit. You got Floyd Mayweather in there popping his booty and shit on the top of the piano. I'm like, God damn, this is a freak off. This ain't no, yeah, all these been just freaking and freaking and geeking and geeking and thinking about thinking and freaking and geeking and freaking and thinking now. God damn. I know. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Kamala Harris is Mary J. Blige and you want her to be the president? You want Mary J. Blige to be the mother president? Okay. You might as well just tell me Joseph Jackson is the president right now.
A new exclusive report in Us Weekly reveals actor Denzel Washington had a heated confrontation with rapper Sean Diddy Combs at an all-night party back in 2003. Washington reportedly abruptly left with his wife, telling Diddy, quote, "You don't respect anyone." This incident has resurfaced amidst Combs' current legal troubles. He faces charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs has pleaded not guilty.
You know what? I can actually see Denzel doing that. And that's a good look on Denzel, so people know, like, he doesn't play that. Don't invite me to any freak-offs.
Seen and a lot of positions that I think I was put in where I had to make very, very tough decisions in my life about who I would be. I was 13 years old, and being 13, having that type of exposure, Howard Homecoming with Puff, WSA, or the Supper Club, you know, with Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. These are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things and have experiences that I'm not quite ready for. That's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight, we would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, "Man, you gotta chill. Like, you're just a little bit too intense. You know, you gotta relax." Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? I wanted people to be excited about me the way that they were excited about him. I wanted my own success. As a result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. I don't sleep to this day.
Out of nowhere, the woman's head slams down onto the table. It looks like it's forced down by some kind of unseen presence. The woman is clearly startled as she runs to be comforted.
So pork is a 98.4% genetic match to humans. That's why when you go in to get a heart valve replaced, you get a pig valve, because pigs are so close to us genetically. Pig tends to make us really inflamed. So we get real puffy when we eat pig. It happened to me last night. I ate bacon. I ate 3 pieces of bacon yesterday morning with my hard-boiled eggs, and my ankles were swollen by the end of the night. And it happens every time. I get really puffy in my wrists, in my ankles. I retain water just off of pork.
You know, I've only heard bad things about pigs, but the few good things that I have heard are pretty amazing, like how smart they are. They're incredibly intelligent. Not too many people like to eat that swine. So many videos of UFOs and people claiming that they see the UFOs. And you can't discredit the people that say they see angels too, and the videos of the angels that start popping up. So that's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one. Let me know what you think though.
Is Beyonce hiding here? I have yet to see anyone talk about this yet, but I have seen people mention how a lot of videos on YouTube are getting deleted. J. Cole's She Knows, Kanye's Famous, amongst others. Couldn't help myself but look up Beyonce. She released Lemonade in 2016, and it's just so peculiar that she updated the playlist 6 days ago. I have truly not been a fan of Beyonce since her album Beyonce. However, if someone understands the lore of Beyonce and Lemonade in this album, can we figure out what is missing? And maybe deep dive and see why it's missing, because I have a sneaking suspicion it has to do with the Diddy case and likely her involvement or complacency. Anyway, let's figure it out.
That's what he did. I had to keep this secret. Showed up, naked wearing a condom, and tackled me to his bed.
Look, there's a song by Houdini. I'm a hoe, you know I'm a hoe. 3 different girls after every show. Culturally, we thought that was the right way. If you slept with as many people as I slept with, thousands, and we're talking about 6 people. I took 9 lie detector tests. People don't know that. 9 separate. 7 from the chairman of the Polygraph Association. 1 for each of the serious accusations. 1 for when someone said, for instance, I was violent. One person said that. I've never been violent. Took that. And 1 for I apologized. I never apologized about assaulting anyone. We have to believe women. We have to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we can't demonize people without proof either. I think that the culture and the climate was different, and the way people interacted was different. And I think to judge 40 years ago as if it was today, we get in trouble. We have to accept where we were and move on and be somewhere else in the future if we don't like where we were.
She said he showed up with the condom on. Now that's a first, but you can tell Russell is crossing his T's and dotting his I's. He said he had 9 polygraph tests. That's a man that is not trying to end up like Diddy.
So there's over 10,000 chemicals allowed here in the United States, and there's only 400 approved for use in Europe. What we have here is the wild, wild west. They can hire their own scientists to produce the safety data. They submit that to the FDA. Sometimes the FDA looks at it, sometimes they don't. but they generally just rubber stamp it and move on. Some chemicals that I can talk about that are banned in other countries that are still used here. For example, titanium dioxide was banned in Europe because it's shown that it can cause DNA damage. This is in Skittles. This is a whitening agent. This is something that you can find in like donuts, Little Debbie's, things like that. Then there's TBHQ. This is a type of preservative that literally affects your immune system to make you more reactive to your environment. So if you already have allergies, it's going to make you more allergenic. This is something that's in Reese's peanut butter cups here in the United States, but not in Japan. We've got, of course, artificial food dyes. Back in about 20 years ago, I think, they started a warning label in Europe that says may cause adverse effects on activity and attention in children. Because the food manufacturers didn't want to remove their products from shelves to avoid this warning label, the food manufacturers decided to reformulate their products and take out artificial dyes over there. And
the way she explains it, she makes the U.S. seem like a petri dish full of toxins.
We know, and I knew this when I was 18 because I had a contact experience, that these civilizations have both innate remote viewing capabilities, but they have technologies that interface with that quantum field at the level of a quanta of thought. So not just random thought, but like directional, like if you're looking at the device and you think to it, it transmits to another node, another point. So now we've known this for decades in the CIA and other agencies, because when they started studying the devices, not just the propulsion systems and the energy, but how are these guys communicating? They found these devices. And to me, this is some of the most interesting research that no one ever talks about. But if you look at Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is our documentary about contacting and using this technique, the foundation of it is this. It's the science of consciousness and the science of the quanta of thought interfacing not only with each other, but dropping out of linear space-time. And so we call this trans-dimensional physics, physics across dimensions. And one of the dimensions is the so-called thought realm.
Over the course of the next few years, there will be certain things that will occur that will let you know that contact is about to happen, not only in terms of an increase in sightings, but also in the way in which this may occur. There are several paths that may be taken by extraterrestrial beings, such as ourselves and others, to begin to initiate you into becoming familiar with our presence in a physical way. One of those ways may be something like this. Ships may appear over your oceans just offshore, so that you know the ship will stay there over the water. You may watch it from shore. It will not move. You will not feel in any way, shape, or form threatened because it is not coming over your heads, over land where you are, but remaining at arm's length out over the water, so that it gives you time to absorb the fact that they are there, off the coastlines of different countries around your world. They may be there for quite some time to allow you the opportunity to gather, to travel to those places, to see the ships. We understand that sometimes they may be surrounded by some of your aerial vehicles, such as helicopters and so on and so forth. But that will all just be part of the show. They will remain there to give you time to get used to the idea that we are here, to get used to the idea that this is the beginning of a great change upon your planet, of a great change in your society, to give you time to discuss among yourselves how you will respond to this change. Take your time. It's fine. There's no hurry. There's no rush. We're not going anywhere.
I'm definitely interested in seeing, extraterrestrials, aliens, if you will. I'm not opposed to it, especially if it happens exactly the way he explains it, the soft rollout. I don't want you showing up in front of my house, inviting yourself in. If you're hovering above the ocean and I can just look at you and kind of gather, okay, you guys are here, that's one thing. But let me know, is it something that you're up to? Do you think it's real, or do you just think he's capping?
It's all around us in society. When you go to a court, you have 12 jurors and 1 judge. 1 plus 12 is 13. Astrology, 12 signs, 1 sun. 12 plus 1, again, 13. The Federal Reserve banking system, 12 regional banks. And then the main bank in Washington, D.C., 12 plus 1 again. So they put this all in society. A team called the 49ers, 4 and 9 is 13. 76ers. Yeah, and someone's going to say, oh, 1776. Well, how come it's not the 1770s? You know, they said 76ers for a reason. They do this all around. McDonald's, Big M. Marathon, Big M. M is the 13th letter. It's there every single time.
Selling your soul is like, it's like if somebody tells you to do something that doesn't align with your morals and principles. You get what I'm saying? I could have did 1 or 2 things and been, boy, I'd have been about the 500 million mark by now. Facts. It was 400,000 a day for me for the rest of that year, 2020. Like 400,000. We ain't talking about after parties. We ain't talking about any other business relationships that got fucked up through it. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't talking about none of the other shit. If I'm just talking about what was already on the calendar. You get what I'm saying? It was sweet. I was up out of here. I was gonna have that Tyler Perry motherfucker, that runway in the backyard.
Right.
Facts.
I know so many people that would have folded under that kind of pressure. We're talking about $400,000 a day for a year. Oh yeah, some people is gonna crumble and, you know, take it to that next level.
The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. Text people now, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction.
10 things you didn't know will kill you.
Caffeine. Just 1 teaspoon of pure caffeine will give you a fatal heart attack. Plucking nose hair. This will cause an infection that will move to your bloodstream directly to your brain, and that's game over. Dryer lint. Accumulated dryer lint over time can lead to fire. Hot tubs and baths. Between 1999 and 2003, 1,676 Americans have drowned in hot tubs and baths. Windex and bleach. Never mix Windex and bleach while cleaning. This will release chloramine gas. Very fatal and deadly. Never get creative with household cleaners. Being too tall. You will not live to be 26. Drinking too much water. This will dilute the electrolytes in your blood. This is called water intoxication.
The head of India's space program was asked in an interview earlier this week, do you think the planet is being visited by extraterrestrials? This was his answer.
But do you think our planet is visited by extraterrestrials?
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
So, Dr. S. Samanth is the chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization, India's equivalent of NASA. He's been at the organization since 1985 and became the chairman in 2022. As a fun fact, exactly a year ago to the day, August 23rd, 2023, Israel landed their lunar rover at the South Pole of the moon.
But do you think our planet is visited by extraterrestrials?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. In my conscience says, I don't have a proof.
You're the chairperson of ISRO, sir.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it comes from out of my earlier statement that there are aliens out in the universe. Aliens means living systems are there, cultures are there in other part of this universe. Then they would have definitely visited us if they are ahead in technology than us. Say 1,000 years, 10,000 years ahead. 10,000 years again is also minuscule time scale in the evolution of the universe. Just imagine a society which is 10,000 years ahead in technology compared to us. Where will they be? They will be frequently coming and going out of Earth without ever we knowing it.
It's the equivalent of us keeping lions in a zoo.
Yeah.
Right? We are the lions in the zoo for them.
Precisely,
like
yes.
Our planet is the zoo.
Precisely, yes.
Do you think that they would be benevolent or malevolent?
In either way, I will be happy never to be in touch with them. I will tell you why. Yes, there is a reason. See, the biology is such that we are evolved out of a common biology that connects every living creature on the surface of Earth. Whether it is plant, whether it is bacteria, whether it is fish or animal, and we are one and the same.
Now this is wild. I almost know for a fact that the majority of you had no clue that India had a spaceship that landed on the moon. That's news to me. But that's interesting.
There's got to be $100 million hit on this. There's a contest in the penitentiary right now. But he a dead man. That's for damn sure. Freak often got tore your world up. But you know what happened. You should have never sued the liquor company. That's where you f***ed up. They don't give a f*** about you tearing up booty holes. You f***ed up when you sued the liquor company, because the liquor company is owned by the biggest conglomerate on earth, the Black Rock people. You done bit off the hand that was feeding you, and now you done chop both your feet and your hand off, and your head's coming next. Your ego got out of whack because you was controlling everything at them freak parties. Now you think you control the hand that's feeding you. You stupid mother. He sued the liquor company May 2023. November 2023, Cassie come up with the lawsuit. Connect the dots. Cassie got 2 checks. She got a check from the liquor company people that put her up to doing that shit, and she got a check from Puffy to try to keep her quiet. Too late.
Do any of you remember the set of cars that predicted world events? This kind of became viral in 2020. But these set of cards were made in 1990 and they predicted major world events. I don't know if you can read that, but what does that say and what happened in 2020? And this also happened? And this? I mean, come on. There are 2 ways that we can go about looking at this. One is they're orchestrated. Everything was orchestrated. We are just watching a play. The world is a stage. Or time travel is real and we are altering things. So this was a discovery in the science realm. Evidence of negative time found in quantum physics experiment. I'm going to save you reading this article. Basically, it means, could time travel be possible? I don't know if you guys were following the 2020 exposure movement where all of the truths of what society is was leaking out, and I can't say too much because this video is going to get taken down. But the exposing of people in charge, the things that they do to the young people, like below the age of 10, people suddenly becoming missing, the consumption of the red liquid that comes out of us, particularly through the young people, all done by those in control, in power. And there was talks about a time machine that supposedly exists, and it is a technology that they have discovered a long time ago. And through this looking glass, they can see the outcomes of the world and they can dictate the outcomes of the world. So was it really an orchestrated event, or were they seeing the future? Now, the reason why I have Alice in the background is because a lot of spiritual people believe that this is, you know, symbolism, occult symbolism. It's Freemasonic because of the checkerboard, and she wears an apron, and Freemasons wear an apron. And there's this one modern sequel of Alice in Wonderland. It's called Alice Through the Looking Glass, in which Alice has to time travel and reset a clock. Now I have to ask, how many of you have been experiencing deja vu constantly? I know I have. Reality feels like a dream. And so many of my clients who come to learn spirituality from me will say, why do I feel like life is a dream? Why do I keep getting deja vu? Maybe it's because of this. I'm just saying. Truth is stranger than fiction at times. And what we think is impossible, we're just limiting our own minds. How do we know what's exactly possible? Are we God? Are we the creator? We can't be that arrogant, right? Now, a lot of the conspiracies that have been coming out recently, especially in these past 4 years, have becoming eerily true. Especially with the whole P. Diddy situation and the things that they do. We now have to open up our minds to the possibility that this is actually real. These were all predictions. So that bodes the question, well, who's doing it? And why do they have so much power? What is this technology? Like I said, truth is stranger than fiction, and you probably don't want to hear me when I say this. But as a former atheist who has now fully accepted this truth, these are what you call the fallen angelics. The entities that are operating all these events that have all of these technologies, they are fallen angelics. They were higher dimensional beings, you can call them gods, that were kicked out of those higher dimensions because they were rebelling and they were becoming extremely selfish. Most of the 7 sins you can blame on them. Humanity was actually created to save these fallen angelics because we have something called ascension codes that run through our DNA given to us by the higher dimensional gods, if you will. And instead of treating humanity with respect, now this is why in the Bible it says Satan or Lucifer is jealous of humanity. They're jealous of the Ascension Codes. They want to go back home, but only on their terms. And this is why Earth is their playground. Earth is their kingdom. They don't want to leave this place because this is the only place they can have fun. And we are dragged into this unwillingly by them. Now, this is all I can say about the origins of humanity. If I say more, my account's gonna get taken down.
Guys, you definitely need to watch this. Let me know in the comments what do you think.
But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Cause you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turned around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Who are the Anunnaki?
Oh, yeah, because, well, if you go back to the Bible and I believe that both the Old and New Testament is an encoded story. That's a whole different subject, but I believe that the Old and New Testament, especially the New Testament, is an encoded metaphor. It's encoded, telling you something real important, but you walk right past it. That's why the Bible has Jesus saying, you look with your eyes, but do not see. You listen with your ears, but you don't hear. And with the heart, you don't get the sense of it. In other words, go back and read it. It doesn't say what you think it says. And so when God, which is actually Elohim in the plural, and God said, come, let us make man in our image after our likeness. It's in Genesis. Rabbi Marvin Entelman, many years ago, I used to sit and talk with him, and other rabbis, teachers I've sat and talked with for hours. They brought out to me, this was back in the mid-60s, that I was told nowhere in the Bible does it say that God created man. Nowhere. It does not say in the Bible anywhere that God created man. What it says in Genesis is that God created Adam, not man. And so it's the scripture actually says, come, that God said, come let us, who's us? Come let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And so Christians say, well, see, there's God creating man. And Rabbi Entelman said, no, that's not what it said. Go back and read it. It says, come let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Not make man, man's already here, but come let us make him in our image, after our likeness. And then later on it says that God says, the God said, here man has become as one of us. He knows too much. He's getting too smart. He's become as one of us. What do you mean us?
Take me to 2035.
I think it's hard to say where all this can go without sounding like a crazy person.
Go ahead,
I really believe the technology is going to be that powerful. I hope that in 10 years, all of us, we are limited by what we can imagine.
Do you think it's moving too fast?
My current belief is no, but I could imagine things that would change that quickly, and I would say, okay, this is moving too fast.
Like what? What would change that?
If we made an AI system that was better at doing AI research than all of OpenAI, and you could push a button and just say, improve really fast. That's an example of something I think would be moving too fast.
When I sit with you, you're so calm, you're so relatable, it seems like everything's okay. Is that how you really feel?
I don't want to give a false sense of security here.
The bottom line for, I think, most people is whether or not you can trust the people who are in charge. And I know you went through a phase where your own board said, we don't trust you. And then you got yourself another board. How do we know we can trust you?
So the bar on this is clearly extremely high. It is clear that this is going to be a very impactful technology, and I think a lot of scrutiny is thus super warranted.
I actually saw a headline that said you were the most powerful and perhaps most dangerous man on the planet. And I'm wondering how that sits with you.
It's definitely strange to hear you say that.
First of all, I had no clue that Oprah Winfrey was still doing interviews. You know, I thought she was on that list. But besides all that, if you were paying attention to him, you can tell there's something else going on. You know, either that he didn't want to say or that he couldn't say. But the reality of it is he understands that AI could get real nasty real fast. And the opposite is true. So it's going to be very interesting in the next couple of years how it all pans out and how things work out. Because he didn't say it was all good, but he didn't say it was all bad. So, you know, you have one of them robots in your house, make sure you got locks on your doors.
You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. You hold on to the past, hoping for answers that never come. But the truth is, you can't move forward if you keep looking back. Let go. The pain, the what-ifs, the doubts, they're not part of the story you're meant to write next. The future is calling. The next chapter of your life is unwritten, and it's waiting for you. You hold the pen, so turn the page.
I truly believe that once the world starts embracing numerology and astrology for what it is, the prime creator's language, what I call the prime creators, what you call gods, but again, I don't pray to anything. When you pray, you become prey. I keep telling people that if there is a prime creator, which I strongly believe there is, he didn't put us on this planet to pray, okay? Be a good person, help the people out. Everyone knows what the difference between right and wrong is, and if the prime creator, which you call God, really did have a child, it wasn't Jesus, it was karma, because you do anything bad, that's gonna fuck you up. That's how it works. Karma is king, not Jesus.
Absolutely.
Numerology is king, not all this other religious nonsense. Honestly, absurd that we live in the year 2024 and people are still trying to get you to read a book that's 2,500 years old and it says it has all the answers within it. You gotta be out your fucking mind. I always tell people I can read people like a book. You've seen it all the time. Can a priest do that? Can a imam do that? Can a rabbi do that? No, they can't, because the real knowledge is within numbers and astrology itself. And by the way, I don't worship anything. It's a tool to use to get closer to the prime creator. That's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be.
They mixed in with the human DNA the Goetian demons.
The which demons?
The 72 Goetian demons, if you want to
explain what they are?
Yeah. They would be the princes and dukes of hell. What we would call hell. Hell, the actual word hell would be H is a gate. The letter H is the letter H is a gate, and ELL was Elohim, and that would be the fallen angels. So the gates of the fallen. Okay, so that's where they hang out, and they are very, very powerful, but they want to come up here and feel what we feel, because they can't feel what we feel. They can't feel what it feels like when you put some milk and sugar into your cup of tea and sip it. They can't feel that feeling. And they can't feel the feeling when you lust after that girl that you looked down the street at. They can't feel that.
Negative blood type is a very rare blood type. Less than 15% of the planet have that blood type. As a matter of fact, I'm Rh negative, and so my wife knows I have to go down to the local blood bank to donate blood to myself, and you got to do it every so many months because blood doesn't last forever. In case there's an accident, they tell you, look, you should donate blood every few months. In case something happens, they can give you back your own blood. You can infuse yourself with your own blood. And scientists call it, they call it alien blood because it's so rare.
If you test positive for the rhesus factor, it means that you are one of those bloodlines that was part of that genetic downgrade. If you test negative, if you're Rh negative, it means that you're part of a very small percentage of the world's population that has an older bloodline. Now, those percentages might shock people, especially when they start thinking, wow, why is everybody all asleep all around me and not understanding any of this stuff? And I seem like some kind of a crazy person. According to the most recent data, somewhere around 85% of the world's population is Rh positive, whereas 15% or less is Rh negative. During the time of Atlantis, they had a percentage of their population that left before it was destroyed, and they went to places like the Basque region of Spain and Morocco and some other parts like in France. Today, that's where you find the highest percentages of Rh negative. We have 2 different genetic bloodline groups running around the planet, and one of them greatly outnumbers the other. And a lot of those people that find themselves researching this stuff and trying to go down this rabbit hole, the reason they get looked at so crazy is they become so far ahead of understanding the real information that makes up our reality that the other individuals become so ignorant of that information that it just automatically gets rejected as being crazy.
If the government is not going to release it, we're going to release this to the public so they'll know that this is going on.
Previous week, the UFO came on the range, flew right by what we called the schoolhouse, because that's where we did the training, and it went down into the valley and continued on. So they have actual video of it, and that's what you see out there in the public, this Nellis Range UFO.
P1 control doesn't know what type of aircraft it is either.
That's his truth. Yeah. We have the names of the other on-duty military personnel. Yes. We have a location and we have a date. Yes. Yeah. I opted to report on it, even though I can't prove that it happened. Yeah. But I think it's a pretty compelling account. What's the location? It was, Nellis Testing Range in Nevada. 1994. It was August.
We watching out here, okay? We've been watching out here. We've been watching for a long time now. You know? Man, nothing. You don't take credit for nothing. They don't want to take credit for nothing. You don't look at Beyonce. Oh, Beyonce, you mean RuPaul? RuPaul can sing, dance, act. RuPaul been trying to have her whole show for a long time. She's been trying to have her own show for a long time. Finally got that show. Everybody coming out screaming for RuPaul. And you just want to act like it's Beyonce. No, it's people that's been working really hard that need to hear this that I'm saying, this stuff that I'm saying. Y'all just want to keep banning me and cutting my live off and doing things. I'm trying to set people free. I'm not trying to keep people in bondage. Let Beyonce be Beyonce, but just know that that's RuPaul. You know, there's a little bit of truth. There's just a little bit of truth for you, baby. A little bit of truth for you, baby. She said if she was a boy. And nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to listen. That's the problem, see? Everybody want to get on there and start talking. You got Ray J up there. He's supposed to be Ray J. Ray J up there talking about, we got to see Ray J on the TV talking about Diddy. Man, come on, man. Why was Ray J on TMZ talking about Diddy? Everybody know they should have been talking to Orlando Brown. What's wrong with you, Ray J? Man. Ray J, you're Nicki Minaj. Be lying to people, man. Ray J been Nicki Minaj for a long time. I went over to Scott Storch's house. I was at Scott Storch's house. And when I was over at Scott Storch's house, me and Megan Good we was over there chilling. You know what I'm saying? My sister took me over there. This was when Lowell Grissom was still alive. And we was over there and we was listening, and she was trying to get Scott Storch to hear my Orlando can do music. Listen to Orlando. Orlando's music. Megan was trying to say, hey, listen to Orlando's music. And he was like, no, not right now. Not right now. But while I'm out there by the piano, right, I'm out there and I'm listening to Ray J with his loud mouth. And he be like, you know, a lot of that. And he'd be like, yeah, man, you know, yeah, and yeah. And Nicki finna come out here too. And Nicki coming out here too. If you know Ray J, that's how he be talking. And Nicki coming out here too.
Orlando Brown with the comical relief. And he also spills a little bit of gems in there at the same time. You know, it's hard to dismiss him because there is something there, but we don't know what it is because he speaks cryptically. But it is funny as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrack fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.